Welcome, everybody. Once again, it is that time for the Coach and Bro Show. And guess what, man? The coach is on another vacation, bro. How many vacation days is the coach going to take? I am carrying this show on my back like Quasimodo carries his hump, bro. Carrying the coach all around. You think coach will ever show up for the Coach and Bro Show? But thank God, bro, in the bullpen, bro. I always have warming up, man. Look at him, man. My paisan, the great Tommy Carlucci. Tommy, how are you, my friend?
What's up, Vinny Rue? Coach has more vacation time than Joe Biden did while he was president.
You know, it's funny. It's funny, Tommy, because he always says he's working, but he's always working on a golf course.
Yeah.
I find that a little hard to believe, Tommy. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a worker. That's why. And if you're in the business, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. But hopefully, as a matter of fact, man, I think Coach is going to be back on Thursday, but I am not going to be here on Thursday. Tommy, I'm coming up to your neck of the woods, man. I'm coming up to upstate New York tonight. I'm going to upstate New York. I got some business going on there.
You better dress warm, brother.
Yeah, I heard about the crazy weather over the weekend, man.
Oh my God, it's nuts.
Yeah,
Crazy.
you're in Connecticut, right, Tommy?
Yeah, Stanford. Yep.
Oh wow, you live right in Stanford, huh?
Oh yeah, the TV studio was I could throw a rock at the TV studio.
Tommy, what city is the new building in? Is that in Stanford also?
Oh yeah, it's in Stanford, dude.
Is it nice? Have you been by it?
Oh, it's my wife. When before she got let go, I took a tour of the building. It's like a friggin' museum, dude. It's incredible, and it's huge, dude. They got the championship belt in the front. It really was done aesthetically nice. You know, WWE doesn't slouch on money. They went top of the line with everything, dude. It really, really, really looks nice. Yeah, it looks great.
And Vince isn't even allowed in the building.
Yeah, the man who created everything. You can't even talk about him. Ooh, can't say Vince. Oh, my
can't
God.
say Vince. What? Oh, can you bring up that super sticker for me, Mr. Producer Man? Nonsense McGee is in the house. Guys, if you want to become a part of this show with a comment or a question, you do that through a super sticker or a donation, just like our main man, Nonsense McGee. Need to set the right tone at the start. Give me the bros. Need my Monday fill. Well, you are going to get a lot of bros here today between me and the great Tommy Carlucci. Producer man, what should we start with? What is the first topic of discussion that we're going to talk about today? Tommy, I was just on another note, man. It's already starting. I was just watching MLB Network this morning, and Giancarlo has intense pain in both elbows, may not be ready for the start of the season. Bro, what's with this dude, man?
This drives me crazy. I texted my brother. I said, the season hasn't even started, dude, and he is already out. He's not even going to make opening day. This is what really pisses me off about the Yankees. They did nothing about third base, and then I watched Cashman interview say, oh, we're going with LeMahieu, Cabrera, or Peraza, 3 shit players. Are you kidding me? It's just crazy. They made more money on the playoffs in the World Series, and now you're skimping? Give me a break. We're going to go with broken down DJ LeMahieu at third base and move Jazz to second. That strengthens the team. You guys better think again.
My God, you know, Tommy, the Cardinals, like, they can't give away Arenado. He's better than anything the Yankees have right now.
I totally agree. I think what the Yankees are afraid of is age, and they think he might be another Josh Donaldson, who really came in like a flame, but he just petered out big time. So I don't know what they're thinking, man. I would have got Bregman, and he got him for a steal. I mean, 3 years. I know he got a lot of money, but the dude can play, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, bring up those topics again, producer man. I think the first one we were going to talk about was the Grand Slam event over in Australia for AEW. And what everybody's talking about, man, it's funny, man, because when it comes to AEW, outside of the 500,000 viewers they have, nobody talks about AEW unless it's something other than wrestling. And it seems to be the topic of conversation about this past Grand Slam, which obviously I didn't see. Bro, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not wasting 2 seconds of my time watching AEW. Like serious. Like literally, you got to pay me to watch AEW. So I've got no interest in this company whatsoever. Tommy, you did not watch it, did you?
I actually did. I was watching the All Star thing, and then it came right on after it. But Vince, here is the difference between WWE and AEW, and I'm just going back to our day. This whole marketing scheme of AEW was just totally screwed up. Where they thought it was a pay per view and it wasn't. They were in a stadium. They couldn't sell tickets. They went to a smaller arena. Vince, they couldn't even get the ring there. The ring didn't make it there. Kyle Fletcher, who's from Australia, one of the superstars there, had to get the ring, and it was much smaller, and it screwed up the way they were working in the ring. As you know, if you're used to a big ring, it's a big difference when you go to a small ring. And this all comes down to logistics, right? When we were there, you think Vince worried about if we were going to Australia, worried about getting the ring there? There's something called remote operations. Guys like Ed Cohen, marketing, Bob Collins, who are on top of all this of selling tickets. Ed Cohen making sure logistically everything gets there. Remote operations. Oh, we got a ring. What else? Let's send it out 2 months in advance. That stuff Tony Khan does not have. And that's a big problem. And it showed on that show.
Yeah, and what Tommy is saying, guys, is, listen, nobody was expecting Tony Khan to send a ring to Australia. The amount that would have cost would have been insane. Nobody is expecting that, but what it appears like, Tommy, is like the dude waited to the 12th hour to get a wrestling ring. So then they get a wrestling ring that's smaller, that, doesn't look up to par, doesn't look like a professional ring. They got to do everything they can to dress it up. And then we're ridiculed by their fans of why we laugh at AEW. This is why we laugh at AEW. Like Tommy said, bro, they should have had a ring there 2 months ago, Tommy.
Yeah, there's no structure, though. I think he's the boss. He writes the show. He goes over everything. Like, you need structure. You need remote operations. You need live event people. You need marketing all the time. So I don't know what happens to it or where it goes, but man, that show sure proved that there's no structure in AEW.
Well, it's obvious. Listen, Tommy, you can't run a football team and a soccer team and whatever else he is involved in. I mean, this is a full-time freaking job. And, obviously, man, listen, Tony puts a lot of time and effort into AEW. I'm not denying that.
Yes,
But you can't be doing all these other things. This is a full-time job, Tommy.
You want to hear another thing, Vince?
Absolutely.
On Max. Now, this is all part of marketing and PR and everything. On Max, HBO Max, where you can watch it on there, they had it as a Dynamite instead of Grand Slam. That's a big mess up. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the little things. If that happened while Vince was there, what do you think would have happened?
Well, that's what I was just going to say, Tommy, because that's the first place my mind goes when you bring up something like that. If that were Vince, heads would have rolled. But, Tommy, Tony Khan's not this kind of guy. And what we see, bro, is we see mistakes being repeated over and over again. Tommy, I am always the guy that says, man, with open arms, man, I embrace mistakes because that's how you become better. You've got to make mistakes. You got to F up to become better. Here's the problem, Tommy. The problem is when you don't learn from those mistakes and you keep repeating them. That was Dixie Carter's MO.
Yep.
Dixie Carter made the same mistakes over and over again. You knew it was going to catch up with her, and it did. And it looks like Tony Khan's going down that same road.
You know, I'll give you an example. Like you talk about mistakes, and I'm just going to go back in my career. I worked on the Livewire show. Remember it? You were part of it
Yes.
back in the day, and I was the phone guy. I was the guy that was teeing it up and saying, "Okay, here's next for Shawn Michaels. Here's next for Vince Russo, or whatever." And in the beginning, Russo, I was the shits. I was terrible at picking phone calls out, picking people out, dumb subjects, this and that. The second show, I got pulled in the dressing room with Vince and Kevin Dunn. And they said to me, he goes, "Look, we know you can do this, right? You're a street smart kid. Just watch out how you take your phone calls. Listen. And by the way, don't be afraid. If they don't have a question, you have it written down, you give it to that person or you do that." After that, it went great. So I looked at my mistake and I'm like, okay, I got to smarten myself up here. Here's the boss talking to me that he has faith in me. And the second boss, Kevin Dunn, my boss, TV production, they both have faith in me. I had to get the job done and I got it done.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Tommy, there's always a learning curve, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's
No.
how that's how you find out, differentiate what works and what doesn't work. You need that. But, like I said, man, if you're not learning from those mistakes and getting better, those mistakes are going to just come back to bite you in the ass, man.
Yeah. It was just the show, the whole second standings was empty and they had it all darkened out. And May and Tony Storm, they have the best storyline going. Tony Storm's ended up being the women's champion. And I'm going to just plead this out to Tony Khan right now. Please take the title away from Jon Moxley. It does nothing. He doesn't need it, Vince. He's a star already. He's with this Death Raiders with Cesaro and some fake looking China broad or whatever she is. And I don't mean to say broad woman, but take the title away and give it to somebody else that could elevate themselves and elevate the title. That's what they should do. Moxley should not have it. Great guy, great worker, big time star, but and you know this, he doesn't need the title.
Yeah, you're right, Tommy. And listen, I want you to know, producer man is laughing at you for saying broad. Tommy, bro. Remember Frank Sinatra? Remember Frank Sinatra always used to say cuckoo broad, broad. Sinatra used to say that all the time. Now we can't say broad anymore. Broad. We can't say broad anymore. We can't even edit it out because we're live. Broad.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy. Let's go on to the second topic, man.
Yes.
Graves' mistake. Apparently, on the last show, I don't know, was it Raw? I think it was Raw. Producer man, nod your head yes if it was Raw. SmackDown. Thank you. Mr. Graves was not on SmackDown, and we know there's been a lot going on. So the question is he still in the doghouse there at the WWE for him not to be on SmackDown?
Yeah, here's the deal. It's Tessitore, Joe Tessitore from ESPN, and I think he does a really good job. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. Tessitore was away on assignment. They brought in Vic Phillips from NXT. Everybody thought, when I saw this, and I'm like, wow, where is Corey Graves? Because Corey Graves, for a while, did play-by-play with Wade Barrett for SmackDown. He is in the doghouse, Vince, as you know, and we all know about the doghouse. He is in the doghouse. He is paying for that tweet that he put out there a while back. He is in the doghouse. Vic Phillips came in, and he did a pretty good job. I think Wade is good at the color commentary, but for them to go over Corey Graves, you know what that feeling's like, brother.
Yeah, Tommy, it's interesting because I think I'm in Corey Graves's doghouse because when I started watching the product again and I saw Corey Graves for the first time, I simply just said, hey, Pee Wee Herman called and he wants his suit back. That's all I said. Tommy, that's all I said. I got blocked. I got buried. I got this. I got that for a little Pee Wee Herman joke, Tommy.
Oh, my God. So sensitive. So sensitive.
They're very, very sensitive. Yeah, man. It's funny, Tommy, because there was a Tommy, I have a very, very short attention span. A lot of my television viewing is, on my TV, I got YouTube. I'll go to YouTube, and I'll look at a lot of the clips. If they're 5 minutes or under, I'm not going to look at anything over 5 minutes. And there was a brand new YouTube clip from Grilling with JR. And it was about our boy, the coach.
No.
Yes. And the topic was that JR said that Vince McMahon had the coach bully him. That was the topic. So I had to watch it because, of course, the coach was involved in this. And, JR talked about, and Tommy, you and I were there. And I'm going to tell you a story, Tommy, you're not going to believe. But you and I were there, and we know JR was always, always, always forever on the brunt end of Vince McMahon's jokes and ribs 100% of the time. And, JR said in this little clip I saw with Conrad, he said, man, I had to make a choice. Either leave or either eat it. And he said, I chose to eat it. And I got to tell you something, man. Listen, it was a different landscape back then because, there was no AEW where, JR could have immediately went there. The only other game in town was WCW. Yeah. JR had a little history with WCW. He probably didn't want to go back there. So JR had very, very few, alternatives or choices. But I got to tell you, Tommy, man, if I was JR, I always thought about this, Tommy. Like, I always thought about if, Vince McMahon ever brought me back and like the first thing he would have had me do was the Kiss My Ass Club. Tommy, there was no way I would have ever done that. I don't care if I would have been fired. I don't care if it's only TV, because you and I both know that's how Vince got off. Vince got off on making grown men kiss his ass, whether it was television or no television. Bro, if that were me, I would have said thank you or no thanks. But I do understand, where JR's coming from, because at that point, he really didn't have many options. But I got to tell you, Tommy, I don't know if I would have been able to take being on the brunt end of Vince's joke every day of the week.
So when this was happening, was he still a head of talent relations, or they just reduced him to a commentator? I don't remember. I know what you're talking about, but he was head of talent relations, and he was making big money, dude.
Yeah. We're gonna have to ask Coach that when he gets back, because I'm not sure about that, because I wasn't there when Coach was there.
Yeah. So Vince put Coach up to bullying JR. That's what you're saying.
That's what JR said. Yes.
Wow, I never heard that, dude.
And I got a text from Coach saying, if JR says that Vince put me up to bullying him, Coach said that is not true. So when Coach comes back, we will hear Coach's side of it. But Coach said Vince did not put him up to bullying JR.
Yeah, I never heard that, and I've never heard it when they were doing commentary. I don't think Coach ever bullied. If anything, it was the opposite. It was JR, doing the deal.
Tommy, you want to hear an unbelievable story?
Yeah, man.
People literally think I make stuff up because you can't believe stuff in wrestling. It's not normal. They're not normal people. So when I tell you something, either I've got a great imagination or it actually happened. Okay? So, Tommy, we used to do the production meeting, and Vince and I used to sit at the head table.
Yep.
And how it usually worked was I would run down the show. Vince would sit next to me.
Yep.
And Tommy, I'll never forget this, man. JR was just coming back with, I think it was his second bout of Bell's palsy. And Tommy, JR always sat in the first row. Yep. Always sat in the first row. So literally, JR, it's me and Vince up there. JR is 6 feet away in the first row. So JR asks a question. And Vince says to JR, he's just coming off Bell palsy. Vince says to JR, Jim, hold on a minute. Let me confer with Vince. Bro, he takes his pad and he puts it in front of his face and our face to shield us from everybody. And Vince looks at me and starts going like this.
Oh, my God.
Bro, JR's in the front row, 6 freaking feet, and Vince is going. Bro, I swear to God, I looked at him, Tommy, and I'm like, what is wrong with you, bro? Like what do you say in a situation like that? So if Vince is doing that 6 feet from the dude, you know he was always putting in that effort. I mean, God, man, JR was always the whipping boy for Vince, man. Yeah. Why do you think that is? I got to be honest with you, Tommy. I think a lot of that has to do with JR putting up with it.
Yeah, JR putting up with it. And, boy, he killed JR all the time. He hated his accent. He hated everything, but he kept him. For some reason, he kept him. Obviously I was on the road. I was in those production meetings with you and stuff like that. And I remember just hearing some stuff on the headset about, like, he would kayfabe JR and say, like, Kevin, man, what's going on? I can't understand a word he's saying. And, like, wow, it was just incredible how, and you're right. I think Vince bullied JR big time, and JR just took it because JR was making great money at the time. Yeah. That's the only reason I can think of that, right? He had nowhere else to go. He was probably making well over $400,000 a year, and if he left there when you got Bell's palsy, where are you going?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. I understand, but, you know, like I said, for me, like, that just would have been a real hard pill for me to swallow. Man, I got to tell you, I saw Bruce and Pat. I saw them do that to Jerry Jarrett, got Jerry fired. I saw them do that to Bill Watts, got Bill Watts fired. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I saw the routine, Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the good old boys club there, brother.
The good old boys network. All right, producer man. Well, before we get to the next topic, listen, Tommy, I'm going to ask you a personal question.
Sure.
Did you wipe down the Schnavitz today, Tommy? Be honest with me,
no,
Tommy.
I didn't.
What, Tommy? You gotta wipe down the Schnavitz every day, Tommy. What are you doing, Tommy?
I take my showers at night, so I'll wipe it then.
Well, speaking of the Schnavitz, we've got our Mando product here. Man, this stuff is awesome. 24-hour odor control, man. They got the wipes, Tommy. They got the speed stick, bro, the whole body deodorant. Tommy, they got body wash. Tommy, this is a bourbon leather, bro. Tommy, are you like that? I'm such a mark for the fancy names. Like, if coffee's got a fancy name or if a donut's got a fancy name, I gotta buy it, bro, even though you know it's never gonna live up to the hype. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, for me, especially a donut.
Tommy, we got the whole body deodorant. We also got the whole body deodorant spray. I love it, man, for pits, packages, and feet. It can't get any more honest like that. Where's my copy? Tommy, I need my copy, bro. Where's my Mando copy, Tommy? All right, here we go. Mando, bro. Yeah, man. Whole body deodorant for your pits, your balls. I'm just going to say it, Tommy. Your balls. Tommy, those ever troublesome thigh folds. Tommy, the thigh folds were always trouble. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Tommy.
I know. I gotcha.
Yeah, the thigh, not the belly, but Tommy, have you ever cleaned your belly? I don't think I've ever cleaned my belly button.
Not with a Q-tip. I don't do it. I do when I take a shower, but
yeah. Well, you put a little spray in the belly button. You know, I got to tell you something. This ad is the producer man's favorite part of the show. He loves the Mando part of the show, Tommy. I don't know. He loves when I say balls and Schnavitz and grundle. Grundle's Al Snow likes to call it a grundle. Have you ever used that term, Tommy?
Never. I use Schnavitz.
Okay. Tommy, I stole your Schnavitz. I did a show earlier. I stole your Schnavitz, Tommy.
That's
But yeah,
fine.
guys, all kidding aside, man, Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and control you for 72 hours, bro. Usually after 12 hours, the stench comes back. 72 hours with Mando, it is proven. And Mando has a great starter pack for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, also free shipping. Now, as a special listener to this show, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with the exclusive code EXPLODES. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack. Use the code EXPLODES at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them Tommy sent you. Tommy and his Schnavitz sent you. That's what you need to tell Mando. All right, producer man, what's the next topic at hand, man? Yeah, I got to be real careful with this one, Coach. Oh, you didn't know. That could only mean one thing. That could only mean the road dog, Brian Jesse James. I got to tell you, man, I go way back with Brian. I probably started working with Brian, man, God, way before the roadie days when he couldn't even get on the show. Probably, God, 94, 95, somewhere around then. So I go way back with him. I've always been Road Dogg's biggest fan. What a great entertainer. Tommy, those freaking promos, I always make it clear to everybody. I never wrote one freaking promo for Road Dogg. That was 1,000% him every time on the microphone, Tommy. I always make that clear.
Yeah, he was a natural, dude. I mean, out of all the James brothers, he was the most natural. And his work in the ring was fluid and he was smooth. And by the way, he's a great guy, man.
Great guy, bro.
A great guy. And I'm happy for him right now.
Great. But here's the problem, Tommy. Here is the problem. Tommy, listen, I get beat up a lot for this, but I will forever stand by this. You could have been the greatest wrestler in the world. You could have a 30-year history. You could be a 20-time world champion. That doesn't make you a writer. Raw SmackDown is a television show. You need to understand how to write and format a television show. You know, there's a great difference between bookers and writers. You know, writers start with the story and then the match develops.
That's right.
Bookers are former wrestlers that start with the match.
That's right.
What 2 guys are going to have a great match? And Tommy, then they will try to make some sense out of a story. To me, it's ass backwards. It's got to start with the story and with the character. And every wrestler who goes into booking or writing, it's a wrestling show. It's not a television show. So Road Dogg has been in this role once before. And Tommy, I was very critical because I look at it from a writing perspective. I was very critical. I know Brian got a little hot with me. I know he wound up blocking me. We went through that whole thing. But Tommy, here's the problem. This is what I don't understand. You know, Tommy, I played an on-air character for a cup of coffee, especially at WCW. But Tommy, I knew I wasn't a wrestler. Okay, now I could play an authority figure. I could get my ass beat and do all that stuff. I wasn't a wrestler. And Tommy, I remember there was a fluky thing where Booker T was the champion and I challenged him to a match and it was in a steel cage. Goldberg spears me through the cage before Booker can get out. So technically, I won the title.
Got it.
Tommy, on the very next show, I relinquished the title. And I basically said, I'm not a wrestler. I got nothing to prove. I relinquished the title. I'm not a wrestler. Just like these guys are not writers. They're not right. That's the part that drives me nuts. I look at these guys wrestle and I know I could never do that in a million years. I could never do it, Tommy. It takes a special freaking animal to do that. I know I'm not a wrestler. I never was a wrestler. I never claimed to be a wrestler. But these guys all think they can write. So when I'm looking at this show from a writing perspective and I start pointing out several things, they get hot at me. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I can't sit here and say, nah, this was great and that was great and this was great if I don't believe it. It's not freaking personal, Tommy, but I never worked with a wrestler creatively that really understood what it took to write a television show. I'm talking Jeff Jarrett. I'm talking Dusty. I'm talking Kevin Sullivan. The list goes on and on and on of the people I worked with. Writing a show, Tommy, is a completely different animal.
Totally different than what these guys do, right? I mean, you're writing to capture a storyline for people to say, I can't wait till next week. What are we going to do here? Not match against match, and now we're going to have a triple threat or anything like that with no storyline together. You have to create stories. You have to create stories to make people want to watch your show every week. Anybody can see CM Punk go against Drew McIntyre, but why are they wrestling? Give me a reason why are they wrestling? They don't do that anymore, Vince. Storylines carry out. One of the greatest storylines ever was Mr. McMahon against Austin. There was a story every week. Another one was Triple H, Stephanie, and Test, and the swerve happened at the end, right? You don't get that anymore, Vince.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm not sure how much Road Dogg's going to bring to the table. He's a great guy in writing purposes, but a writer's a writer and a booker's a booker, and that's plain and simple.
Tommy, you know what's the easiest way I can explain it to everybody so they understand? We've all seen the movie Rocky.
Yes.
Okay, Tommy, can you imagine if Rocky started with Apollo Creed versus Rocky Balboa and all we saw was the fight? That's all we saw. No backstory of who Rocky was and Adrian and Paulie and Apollo Creed. No backstory whatsoever if we would have just got the fight. To me, Tommy, that's what professional wrestling has become in 2025. We're getting match after match after match. Tommy, there's nothing to it. I call it the meat on the bone, Tommy. There's no meat on the bone, Tommy. It's two guys having a fake fight. That's what it is.
Prime example, one of the WrestleMania main events, and I've been talking about this. Gunther Jey Uso. Give me a friggin' story. Not that they faced two times and Jey lost. Give me a story. Give me a story why Jey wants to get this championship. Give me a story why Gunther doesn't want Jey to get the championship and move on from there to up bigger things. You have to give me a story. They have to dig deep. They got a couple of months because WrestleMania is late this year. Gunther has to bring this story out somehow, some way. I need to get into Jay's past. I need to get into Jay's personal life or whatever to piss him off so much to say, man, you're full of crap. We're going to go here, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm interested in the match. Right now, that's a Saturday night's main event in my eyes. That's not a WrestleMania's main event.
I agree with you. And Tommy, what I've said about that just off the top of my head, this is off the top of my head. Bro, Gunther should be screwing around with Jimmy Uso, Big Jim. How does it feel to be in little brother's shadow? I can't even imagine. You're the older brother. Oh my God, do you think your wife thinks that maybe she married the wrong Uso? Bro, all you got to do is start screwing with that.
We talked about that on the last word.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, my God, Tommy, here's just another example. I'm watching the other day, and we had Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley, Charlotte is talking about, well, I beat you. And then Rhea's going, well, we had another match and then I beat you. And I'm like, is that what this is about? Like you beat me and I beat you. It's like, bro, this is where they lack the writers, Tommy.
Yep. You're absolutely right, dude. It's incredible. Now we have Charlotte and Tiffany. That's going to be one of the main events. Give me a story. Can you give me a story why Charlotte's going after Tiffany? Where is the story? It's just a challenge made. I'm taking you because I won the Royal Rumble. Now you got to build a story. We got a couple of months before WrestleMania comes, and there better be a story there some way, somehow.
Tommy, I swear I had a laugh the other day. Like, it's like you guys like don't understand. Like, did you see SmackDown?
Yes.
Tommy. So Nia Jax hurts Tiffany Stratton.
Right.
Tiffany Stratton's the champion. Okay. So the ring loads up with referees and agents, and they're checking on Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is doing a job. She's selling. Tommy, then they all leave her in the middle of the ring so Charlotte can come out. That is your champion. She is hurt. We're not going to help her to the back. We're all just going to leave. Do you know how piss poor that is, Tom? It totally buried her. It totally made her weak. Why couldn't they be taking care of her, having the doctor out there checking her up, and having Charlotte cut the same freaking promo?
Right.
But for all of them to leave the champion in the ring injured, do you know how ridiculous that is, Tommy?
It looked ridiculous. I watch it. I'm going, what's going on here? And they left her laying in the middle. Charlotte entrance comes in. She grabs a chair and sits down. She's selling like a mofo, right? And then nobody's there. In real life, that would never happen.
That's how you bury somebody.
Yeah.
That's how you bury somebody.
Yep.
I mean, can you imagine these guys? It's UFC and the WWE. Can you imagine a UFC fighter getting laid out? They all come down to check on him, the doctors, EMT, everybody, and then they just leave.
Yeah.
Like, in what world outside of wrestling does this crap happen, man?
You're absolutely right, Vince. It's the little things that people miss when doing a show.
Yes.
A writer would pick that up and say, "Oh, I think an EMT should be there. I think this could be there. Do this, do that, or whatever." But no, it was the whole effect of Charlotte standing over Tiffany while she's vulnerable, putting down a chair. Tiff,
Yeah.
Tiffy, are you there? Tiffy time, blah, blah, blah.
Tommy, you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Did you hear that my phone just rang?
Yeah.
You know who that was?
Tiffany.
No, that was producer man wanting me to do another Mando ad. Listen, producer man, get over it. Once a show, I talk about grundles and packages and stinky balls. Once a show, I'm not doing it. Tommy, will you tell him we're not doing it twice?
Producer man, you're not only going to hear Schnabitz, but it's time for Mando.
Tommy, why do you pop me every time you say that? Why does it pop me?
Because Gene Oakley used to say it to me all the time.
I know you're going to get this. What was Pat's saying that always used to pop you?
Well, he used to, half the time I couldn't understand. He goes, Zabada.
Zabada, that's it. The Zabada. Yes. Yeah. And you know what I ripped off. I mean, when I first started podcasting, Tommy, originally my show used to be called Pyro and Ballyhoo. Who'd I steal that from?
Oh, that was from did Kerwin do that?
Kerwin, bro. Kerwin with the Pyro and Bro, Pyro and Ballyhoo was written on every script I ever wrote. Pyro and Ballyhoo. Bro, do you know how Kerwin is these days? Like, do you know what happened to him?
I think he moved to Florida. I think he lives in Florida now. He retired, but nobody's heard of him. I mean, unless Marty Miller talks to him. Marty Miller's the director of WWE, good friends with Kevin Dunn. but I don't know. Nobody knows where Kerwin is. I rode with Kerwin for a little bit. He was a trip, dude.
Yeah.
He was
Bro, do you know how I'm still keeping tabs on Kerwin?
how?
Bro, back in like 95, man. Matt Miller. Remember Matt
Yes,
Miller? Matt
yes,
Miller's great, dude. Matt went on to run the Gund Arena.
yes.
I think he's still running the Gund Arena. But Matt Miller, years and years ago, bro, again, going back to like 95. Bro, he hooked me up with the guy from, I'm a big Giants fan, San Francisco Giants, that ran the entire ticket operation. The guy's name was Russ Stanley. Bro, Russ still runs it to this
Wow.
day. So Russ and I are still in contact. Bro, Kerwin's a huge Giant fan.
I
So
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
Matt made that connection as well. So every time I talk to Russ, I'm checking in on to see how Kerwin's doing, man.
Yeah, every time Kerwin would come in and do ISOs, for the TV, and it was baseball season, "Oh, how your Yankees do?" He used to bust my chops about the Yankees all the time, man.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the time. Great guy, man,
He was the guy.
and a good director.
I remember when he had the heart attack, man. Remember that, Tommy?
I was right in the TV
Right
studio.
in the TV studio, bro. I'll never forget that, man. That was scary, man.
Yeah, Adam Panucci, who's a top guy at WWE, top producer, you know Adam, and, he was in the room at the time when it happened, and
Yeah,
he saved him.
yeah, wow. Yeah, and we talked about them just letting Adam go, I think, on the last show.
No, Adam's still there. They let Dan Pucciarelli go.
Oh, I thought they let Adam go.
Oh, Adam's there.
Oh, well, that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah, Adam's the best, man.
Yep.
Absolute best. All right, producer man, do we have anything else? I thought there was something else. Was there something else on the bottom there? Oh, we got a couple of things, man. Tommy, this WWE LFG Legends and Future. What is it,
Great.
Tommy?
Great.
Future Great. Did you watch that?
Yes, I actually watched it this morning because I recorded it. I was watching this SNL 50th anniversary show last night, which incredible, by the way. They opened the show with Paul Simon, right?
Yeah.
And then they closed the show with Paul McCartney.
Yeah, bro. Can I listen, bro? There isn't a bigger Beatle fan than me on this planet. I've got the Beatles tattooed on my body, bro. He's got to stop singing.
Yeah, he didn't sound too good.
Oh, bro.
I love him. I come every time he's on tour, I go see him, dude.
Yeah, bro. I understand it's Paul McCartney. You get to pay. I totally get anybody else. No, anybody else.
Yeah.
But man, it's rough listening to him sing, man.
Yeah, it was rough last night. So I did watch it this morning, and you know what I'm interested in, Vince? Out of everything, and it looks like it's going to be a good show because A&E does great production, and as you know, WWE production is second to none. Oh, I know all those kids at WWE; they're very talented, and they're helping and but A&E does a great job with reality TV. And the most interesting thing I am watching this is Undertaker, because I'm seeing Mark Calloway, Undertaker, as I've never seen him before. He's pulling the hood back, and he is now Mark Calloway doing as a coach. That's what I'm interested in seeing. I know Bully Ray, I know who Mickey James is, I know who Booker T is, but man, I'm really interested to see how Taker does in this show. I watched it this morning, and they got some good people there. They got some wise guys there, and of course, they picked a match between these two guys who were really good, and then whoever won got to pick their coach. This guy Anthony Vale or whatever his name is, he's actually Maxine Dupree's boyfriend. Who, she's with the Alpha Academy. She's with the heavy set guy. I forgot his name.
Otis.
Otis, yes, and he picked Taker as his coach, and Taker loved it. And then the girl picked I forgot who she picked, but I'm really interested to see how Taker does in this whole thing. We've never seen him like this before, Vince. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, no, that's a very, very interesting take, Tommy. A very, very interesting take. I would enjoy watching that myself.
Yep. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we'll see. And the only reason I really like it because A&E is shooting it, and the way
Yeah.
they shoot and do stuff. And I know WWE has some sort of final approval on stuff, but they usually don't touch stuff that they do. So they have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, I might have to check now. Now that you put that spin on it, you got me a little
Yeah.
interested because I just felt like because I saw some clips and it's like, bro, I don't want to see Bully Ray bullying people. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't want to see that. Like, but this Taker thing puts a whole different spin on
Yes.
it for me, Tommy.
And
So
so far, he's really good.
yeah.
What I saw. And him and Sean interacting in the beginning. Oh my God. It was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Now, producer man, we've got Omega on Logan Paul. Do you have the comments? Let's pull them up so me and Tommy can comment on these.
Right there, Logan Paul's a fantastic wrestler. Great. I'm glad you think so, and I'm glad he's able to convince you such a thing. However, would Logan Paul walk into New Japan and do a G1 where you have to walk in every night and have an actual banger? No, he absolutely could not. Is he going to get there between now and... I mean, it depends on his commitment level. And not only that, but does it matter? No, he's clearly setting his roots down in WWE, and that's where he wants to succeed, and that's where he wants to be a star, and that totally makes sense. So for the WWE style and for what they're willing to do for him, give him time, allow him to grow, develop, and get more used to get more familiar with his surroundings. Take the time to have him have everything up in here. Make sure that when it comes time to perform, what it is that they've rehearsed, what they've scripted, that he'll be able to pull it off as though he just showed up to the arena, like how the old timers did back in the day, the Terry Taylors and the Terry Funks. I don't know why I'd pick two people that were named Terry, but you know what I mean. It could have been anybody.
Terry Crews.
They're Terry Crews. There you go. Yeah.
Here's my question, Vince. From what I just got from Kenny Omega. Has he watched Logan Paul wrestle? Because this kid works his ass off. And by the way, he doesn't need to go to New Japan. What does he got to prove at New Japan? He's in WWE. Why would Logan Paul want to go to New Japan? To prove that he's a wrestler? Come on. And I like Kenny Omega. I don't know if I'm taking that the wrong way or what.
Well, here's what it is too. Like, Tommy, bro, listen. All these wrestlers, Tommy, it's the paying the dues, working indies and going through NXT for 5 years and paying the dues. When a phenom like Logan Paul comes along and picks it up quickly and knocks it out of the park, they don't like that, bro. They don't like that. Somebody can pick it up that easily. They have a problem. And I gotta be honest with you. When Kenny Omega says, can he have a banger at G1 every night? You know what? I think he can, Tommy. Yeah. I literally think he could walk into New Japan tomorrow and have a banger every night. This freaking guy is a natural. And like I said, if you're a pro wrestler who put in, 6, 8, 10 years, whatever you put in, you're going to have a problem with the guy that is doing it so well in such a short period of time.
And is a part-timer. And that's what pisses people off more than ever. And we had Shane Helms on our show on Behind the Turnbuckle, and he said, no, when he gets prepared for a match, he gets prepared and nobody works harder. That's coming from Shane Helms, a worker who knows how to work in the ring, teach people stuff, and Logan Paul is a natural. I've been on the Logan Paul bandwagon for a long time. And I've never seen him have a bad match yet. I got to honestly say, that match with him and Ray, that was unbelievable. For him to go on the second and do that backflip with Ray, you know which kind of confidence Rey Mysterio has to have in Logan Paul? You know, right?
Yep.
He had it.
Yeah.
He's good.
Oh, he's really good. He gets it. He's entertaining. Yes. He's got a gift. And again, man, hey, come on, Tommy. We see guys, go through the majors, man, and they may be lifetime 230 hitters, 220 hitters, but then we see that phenom come up and just, I mean, hey, some people have more of the gift than others, and you can't hold that against them. And especially like Tommy says, on top of that, the freaking guy's working his ass off. So when you've got the natural gifts, you've got the best in the world training you, and you're committed to the bit, you're going to get Logan Paul.
Yep. He's the Juan Soto of wrestling, right? Juan came in 19 years old on the Nationals. The dude hits every day. Every day he hits. He plays 110%, and he hits in clutch situations. Because if it wasn't for him, my Yankees wouldn't have been in the World Series.
Yeah, that is 1,000% true. All right, Tommy, what do you tell everybody out there where they could find you other than this show, my friend?
Catch us tonight on The Last Word at 11 o'clock, right after Raw. We go straight up at 11. You can watch us on YouTube, Stadium, DirecTV, Amazon Prime. Catch my pretty face with that guy named, what's his name? Mr. Vacation Coach.
Wait, you mean he doesn't golf at night? He's not going to be at a golf course at night somewhere?
I hear he's doing our show tonight. So, yep, he'll be there. And if you want to reach me on X or Instagram, BTT_Tommy C. And again, it was my pleasure stepping in for Vacation Joe, Coach.
Yeah, bully, coach. Bully.
That's what I'm going to call him tonight.
Yeah, Bully Busick, the coach. Yes. All right. Yeah, I always love having Tommy on, man. It's always great talking to Tommy. Guys, if you've never been a member of my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Russo TWC right now and get a free week. Try us out, bro. Patreon.com/Russo TWC. Remember your Mando, bro. Take care of your schnavitz for Tom. Tell him Tommy sent you. That's it, everybody. For me, Tommy, and Producer Man. We'll see you next time.